morning, beautiful people. Welcome to yet another episode of the Younib Breakfast Show with me, Peninah, Wachera. I hope you guys have woken up well and are excited to face your day. I hope you've also told yourselves that today is a good day and that I'll have a great day ahead, yeah? So as it is the norm here at the Younib Breakfast Show, let's go straight to the morning bite of the day. Today's conversation, we are going to be speaking about internet addiction, yeah? And when we talk about internet addiction, most of us are addicted to the internet and yet we don't know. We find ourselves using the social media platforms. Unajipata you're using TikTok, Instagram. The time you're also supposed to be working, you're always just on social media. Most of us also, we have pressure from internet. And today we're just trying to see what is internet addiction all about? How can I know I have internet addiction? And to help us be able to tackle this conversation, we have a familiar face, a face that you guys should start getting used to it of late, Cindy. So thank you so much for actually watching the Younib Breakfast Show. And also, remember, you can always interact with us through our social media platform, Younib_TV on Instagram, Younib Media TV on Facebook, and there's a number on your screen. You can SMS or WhatsApp 0719 144 144. Remember to use the hashtag Younib Breakfast Show with Peninah Wachera. Also, remember this show is proudly brought to you by Miss Ashen and Younib Organization, and we're trying to reach out to the community to teach you on matters mental health. So if you know of anybody who needs mental health assistance, you can always tell them to call the number 0700 352 250, and our very own psychologist will be able to help you out. Okay, so I'd like to introduce to you the guest of the day. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you feeling this morning?
This morning is it has been quite a cold morning because again the weather has decided to be unpredictable. Yeah, but happy to be here nonetheless.
Karibu sana.
Thank you so much.
Because of our viewers, or maybe a viewer who is maybe watching us for the first time, kindly look at the camera and please introduce yourself.
Okay, so good morning, viewer. My name is John Dennis Waweru, and I am a psychologist. And today I'm here to shed more light on what internet addiction is and how many people are getting into it, yet they don't have any idea on what they're getting into.
Okay, so karibu sana. And we hope we learn a lot from this conversation. So to start us off, what are some of the first signs that somebody might be able to develop during internet addiction?
You see, addiction in the first place is compulsive. Compulsive in the sense that, one, you have no conscious control over it. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And as we've said in previous settings, addiction is a crutch. Addiction is something you use to react, to cope to a particular situation. You use it either to avoid or you use it to escape something that is going on in your life. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So that medium that you use, that is what is said to be the medium under which you're addicted to, right? So the thing with internet addiction is, number one, it is compulsive. And one of the some of the signs that come about is there is a disruption of your day-to-day life, be it your work life, your social life, your own personal life,
Yeah.
And there are very many aspects of internet addiction. There is social media addiction, there is gambling addiction, especially nowadays since gambling sites have all been moved to online spaces.
Yeah.
There is also pornography addiction and many other things that happen in the internet space.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people right now are usually obsessed with scrolling. If you get into a space, you're most likely to see a big number of people on their phones. And they won't be reading a book. they'll be somewhere in social media catching up with something that is not relevant and catching up with things that are not really important. You know, they go there not even knowing what they're looking for in particular. It's like getting to a shop and wandering aimlessly, not knowing what you want to buy. You see?
Mm-hmm.
So you find that the first sign, one of the earliest signs, is disruption of other spheres of your life. You cannot be productive. You know, if it is school, you find schoolwork being affected. If it is work, you find workplace, your productivity at the workplace being affected. You're not doing what you're supposed to do at a given time. See, the other thing is there is a diversion of funds, especially when it comes to things such as gambling, or even internet usage as a whole. Because now some things that were non issues start to become priorities. For example, if you spend a lot of time on your internet, Wi-Fi connectivity becomes a basic need to you. So even if you're planning whatever you're planning for, you have to set aside funds to make sure that your house has internet connectivity.
Yeah.
One way or the other. If it's not Wi-Fi, you have data bundles for that case, or the many other ways that people connect to the internet in their houses. See, so you find that money that could have gone to other places end up being used here. So that is another reason. And then you find that there is some sense of neglect. This is in the sense of especially social interactions. I think we are having a growing case of self-made introverts, people who just stay glued to their screens all day long, and they cannot really hold a conversation. If you're to sit people down and take their phones, those people will just stay quiet because they cannot really conduct a conversation, a one-on-one conversation, since they're used to their screens. Okay. There's also an issue of there's some form of withdrawals that come in. Have you ever seen people who are so much glued to their phones and then kunakuja blackout? And sorry to say, we talk of the blackouts that last for days.
Yeah.
You hear the things that they talk about are like, okay, simu yangu ilikuwa 12%. It's not really about the lighting. Oh, I cannot be able to cook without electricity. Oh, I cannot be able to do this. The first thing that comes to their mind is their phones. You see?
Yeah.
Another problem that comes about is you find now this becomes, because it has been enmeshed into your life for so long, it becomes something that its absence of can make you feel sick. Unaweza patana na mtu ameboeka simply because they don't have bundles for that day. They're so much engrossed in the fear of missing out that they cannot really sit still. I don't have bundles. Nazani hotspot. Okay.
Yeah.
Those are some of the issues that might arise as a result of internet addiction.
Awesome. And I hope we are following up when it comes to this conversation. And my next question then is internet addiction really as dangerous as other behavioral addictions? For example, gambling and also drugs and substance abuse.
Okay. So the thing with internet addiction is, and actually what makes it dangerous, it's its harmlessness. Okay. You see, drugs are known. The effects of drugs are known. the effect of gambling to some extent is known. Okay? But with internet addiction, it's the harmless nature, such that you cannot be really addicted to, or you cannot really see yourself getting addicted to something that gives you that illusion of control. You know, a lot of, say, people using internet are on social media, right?
Yeah.
What drives social media? The need for information and connectivity. So to them, it looks like they're connecting with other people. They're getting informed. They want to know what is going on, where, when, and who is doing it. You know, but it gets to a point it becomes compulsive. You know, you're so engrossed in other people's lives that you can't really focus on your own. And that is what makes it so dangerous, because it is one of the very few addictions that you never see coming. No.
Yeah.
Also, you find that with the others that you've listed, all the other behavioral addictions, they use the internet as a medium. You know, where do we see drugs looking cool?
The internet.
The internet. You see them in music videos. You see them in people doing their influencing and their lush lives and everything else. You know.
Yeah.
So where are gambling sites hosted? The internet.
Yeah.
See, so every a good number of behavioral disorders require the internet as a medium to be propagated. You see,
Yeah.
if you shut down the internet, say today, there are a lot of good things that will come to a halt, but also you'll find that there will be no room for advertising. You see, so a lot of problems come about with the internet because it is that disorder you'll never see coming. The addiction is something you'll never see coming.
Okay, so I hope we are following up on the conversation and we're getting to learn more about this conversation about internet addiction. I'd like you to just sit down and ask yourself, are you internet addicted? Yeah. And as we do that, I want us to take a short break and we'll be back with more. Welcome back. This is still the Younib Breakfast Show with me, Peninah, Wachera, and today we are speaking, or we are getting to learn more about internet addiction, yeah, with Dennis as our psychologist here. Remember, you can always interact with us through our social media platform, Younib_TV on Instagram, Younib Media TV on Facebook, and there's a number on your screen. You can SMS or WhatsApp 0719 144 144. Remember to also use the hashtag Younib Breakfast Show with Peninah Wachera. And this show is proudly brought to you by Miss Yo Ashen and Younib Organization. And we're trying to just reach out to you guys to teach you more about mental health. So if you know of anybody who needs any mental health help, you can always ask them to call the number 0700 352 250, and our very own psychologist will be able to help them out. Yeah. So Dennis, coming back to the conversation, how does internet addiction really affect relationships with family and friends?
Okay. So, first of all, the internet, especially social media, creates some form of virtual connectivity, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing with social media, it has also fostered some form of fake resilience, you know. You find that people cannot really ask for help genuinely on social media because it will either come across as clout, or if not clout, it will come across as as some sort of a victim narrative, you know.
Yeah.
So you find that people, because they do not want to have that negative feeling, number one, may shy away from asking for help, especially when issues arise. Okay. Secondly, as we've said in the previous segment, it creates some form of a virtual connection. There's nothing real holding you people.
Mm.
You know, people nowadays prefer texting on WhatsApp, for example, rather than spending time together. You know.
Mm.
So if you ask someone, you'll be like, how is Flani? Then they'll tell you Flani is fine. Actually, we talk on WhatsApp every day. But are they fine really? Okay.
Yeah.
When is the last time you had a real conversation with this person? When was the last time you really had time? You spent time physically with this person. You know?
Yeah.
You got to see them in person. You see?
Mm.
So we have a lot of pressure to keep up appearances on social media. You know? Everyone in social media is actualized in their own way. They are either rich, they're either fulfilled, they have a good life, you know, everything. And you've even heard of stories where people are borrowing
Yeah.
to keep up appearances and lifestyles in
Yeah.
social media. You see,
Mm.
so you find that is one thing. It takes the authenticity out of people. You know.
Yeah.
Secondly, look at mentorship and mentorship systems. A lot of our mentors now are in social media. Someone in Austria who is 28 and happens to have generational wealth is there telling you what to do. You who are from some low income neighborhood who has tegemeo la wanakijiji branded on them. Okay.
Yeah.
So you find that instead of looking at people from your own set, people who are going through the same things you're going through, you want or you aspire to live a life the same as that person you see on social media, that model. Okay.
Yeah.
And that is, I think, one of the problems that is coming about with the influencer narrative. You know, everyone is now becoming an influencer. You have a grip on your life. Therefore, you feel as if you should tell everyone how to live theirs, which is not the case. You see?
Mm.
And you find that pressure, people don't really know how to adjust to that pressure. No. You'll find someone who, say, for example, and in the unfortunate case that someone who talks ill about structures and foundations, you know, because they have happened to have a negative experience with them,
Mm-hmm.
will influence people who do not know anything about that particular situation. you know,
Yeah.
and people who have not really interacted with that particular situation. I'm trying to look for examples in my head that are TV worthy, but I can't really seem to find them. So
Yeah.
you'll have to bear with me.
Okay.
So you find that is a problem, and it creates notions simply because X had a bad experience. That doesn't mean that the act in itself is it's bad. There are positive stories out here of people having actually done it and done it well. You see?
Yeah.
The other problem that comes about, especially with the mentorship and mentorship systems, is you now tend to decline help from people who actually know you because they now start to come across as old-fashioned, close-minded, people that are rigid in thinking, narcissists. Which other words do people out here use? Because these are things you've picked. So you find that simply because people are now agreeing to your point of view on social media and people have created that sort of virtual connection, virtual support, you end up neglecting what's right in front of you. You see, if you have a problem, you end up dismissing that problem instead of fixing it. Because the people who are with you, who stick with you around, they tell you things as they are. This is a problem, you need to fix it.
Yeah.
But you see, people say, people finding rosy ways because they have a community that they will support them even in their maladaptiveness. You see? So it affects family and friends in a lot of ways. And also friend formation. Right now, everyone has a virtual connection with someone, but can you really call them your friend?
Not really.
You see, because yes, they're fair. They post their statuses and you review them.
Yeah.
Right? You have banter from time to time, and actually emojis came to ruin things because nowadays everything has that laughing emoji with tears coming out of their eyes. So even when someone asks you, how are you? You're more likely to tell them, I'm fine, with that laughing emoji, even if you're not. Okay? So you find that it has prevented people from forming intimate connections. By intimate, I mean close emotional bonds with other people.
Yeah.
So you find that I think people don't really have that set of friends that they can actually say, this is Fulani, this is my friend, and I know them for this and this and that other thing. So social media has ruined a lot of friendships and families because it has put in notions that, number one, didn't exist before. Number two, it has shown people that you can be supported regardless. Even if you have bad behavior, there's always a community that will accept you. Number three, it has taken off the authenticity from people.
Okay, awesome. And I hope we are taking notes actually, and we're getting to learn more about internet addiction. And these are things that we should try also to reduce, because once you get internet addicted, you see already you'll have a problem with associating with your own friends, with your own family members. Yeah. So it's really, really important for us to make sure that even though we are using the internet, we use it in the right way and we try not to be internet addicted. So I want us to take a short break, and we'll be back with more concerning the conversation of the day. Don't touch that dial. We'll be right back. As you continue enjoying your cup of tea and coffee, I hope you are also getting to understand and also to think about internet addiction, and also ask yourself questions on, am I really becoming an internet addict? Yeah. And by also seeing that, you can also try and observe what other people in your family are doing and see, are these people becoming addicts of the internet? Yeah. Okay, coming back to the conversation, Dennis, does internet addiction really lead to any other mental health issues?
Yes, actually, because as you've said, we've said in the previous segment, the internet isolates. You know, it creates that form of virtual connection, but in real sense, you're alone. You see. Number two, the internet comes with its own set of withdrawals. That means if you're really addicted to it, seeking to stop will come with its own set of problems. Okay. Secondly, thirdly, you find that the internet shapes narratives as to what is or who is. So it can come with its own set of mental health problems because it shapes perceptions, expectations, and all that. For instance, if you go to the internet, they tell you what the ideal body is. So you find that people can, especially teenagers, can manifest disorders here and there, feeding and eating disorders, anxiety disorders, because they know they do not look good enough for them to be internet worthy. Okay. Secondly, you find that the internet, especially there are some, especially in social media, some of the social media platforms, they host child predator sites. People taking advantage of children. Yeah. So you find that can also come, that is a trauma waiting to happen. So you can also add trauma and stressor-related disorders to that list.
Yeah.
Okay. Also look at depressive disorders. If you look at the internet, everyone flaunts their life. I've told you about 28-year-old mentors in Austria who come from generational wealth.
Yeah.
And you're a 28-year-old in Kayole who wewe ni tegemeo la jamii. Those are two different things. So because you've seen that is what your fellow 28-year-olds are doing, in quotes, or that is what the internet has shown you, you're more likely to feel as if you're underachieving, underperforming. And that will come with its own set of depressive disorders. See?
Yeah.
So you find that the internet can affect your mental health in so many ways. And it can deal with, it can come in very many ways. And also look at it as a propagator to other forms of addiction. Gambling, behavioral addictions, gambling, pornography, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So they change how your brain works as far as as far as those areas are concerned. Look at the internet as a point where, look at the internet from a point of view where drugs are advertised, and shown to be cool. So the internet can have so many effects on on mental health because it actually changes how we view our world. It's the lens in which we view our world. So if it's dirty, we'll see a dirty world, rather than a dirty lens. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. And I like the way you've already told us that it shapes the narrative. And I feel like nowadays we should try and also build a good narrative in our social media platforms where we can see people accepting who they really are. And I feel like, yes, we have started improving on that because kitambo, you could have seen maybe some people wakisema, okay, for you to be a model, you had to be like having a certain size of body, yeah. But nowadays we've been seeing even plus size are very, very open and they're really feeling good of themselves, even being models. So I feel like, yes, the narrative is changing, but the problem is still there's some pressure that comes with the social media. You want to just be like other people, which I feel like we should try now and change that narrative. We should also try that we feel comfortable in who we are rather than allowing internet to to be part of our own day-to-day life experiences. Yeah. So when we started with the first segment, you had told us about signs. What are the signs that will see a person, okay, this person is addicted to the internet? Now, my question is, if I'm a friend, if I'm a family member, and I start seeing, okay, my friend has an issue with the internet, maybe this person is internet addicted, and maybe my child or maybe my brother and sister are addicted to the internet, what should I do?
For children, let that kid go out and play. Yeah. It doesn't have any other way. Let that kid go out and play. Get that kid out of the house, because children are active beings. We are the ones that confine them to houses, with all our smart TVs and everything. Huo mtoto amekuwa akisikiza Cocomelon tangu azaliwe, and there's nothing else that kid knows apart from that. So for you, limit that child's screen time, limit that kid's time that they use in the internet. There's actually a set of recommendations that is coming up that actually prohibits screen time for children under the age of 2. None at all. Okay?
Yeah.
So limit the amount of time children are spending on your phones. Stop using them as distractions. Stop using them as a set of as something to keep this kid quiet so that you can go on in your day. Let the kid get out, discover things, because children in their own sense are discoverers. Okay?
Yeah.
Secondly, when dealing with addiction, conversations matter. Let the kids know that whatever they're doing is dangerous. Because I think this is the age where more and more people are getting access to internet. Smartphones and everything else. I think we're the kids being born now are the first set of kids that are in a 2-parent smart family. So you find that by 2-parent smart family, I mean their own set of smart devices that they use, and both parents have access to it. Okay?
Yeah.
So you find that this is the first case, and at the end of the day, it starts with you. You cannot limit a child's access to internet if you cannot limit yourself. If you cannot sit down and have a conversation with your child, hi, how was school today? How are you doing? You cannot limit that child. You cannot tell that child to put off that TV if you are on your phone. It doesn't make sense. So it all starts from us, and we need to have these conversations. Instead of having games that are played on your phone, why don't you have games that you can actually play, engage in? Buy some board games. Today, say I'm playing Monopoly with my family, and make sure you've bought everything on that board. Learn to play board games actually on the board. You'll find that you'll end up having more constructive conversations with these kids when you're doing these activities rather than on the phone. Again, it also shapes creativity, you see, because the kids are actually engaging in them themselves. Yeah. So there's a lot of things that we can do as far as our loved ones are concerned to ensure that they are at least aware, or they know how to prevent getting into this abyss.
Okay, thank you so much for coming and helping us get enlightened on internet addiction. I hope we are going to be people who will concentrate more on doing different things rather than spending more time on the internet. And I feel like it is important for us actually to identify these characteristics as early as possible, so that by the time you getting to understand, okay, I am having an addiction, at least you will have a way out already. Yeah. So I'm hoping that we'll be using our time constructively. We'll be trying our level best to be putting our phones aside, yeah, because on our day-to-day life tumekuwa tukiona we are now people who are just using our phones. Anytime you're going to the car, utaona everybody is just removing their phones and trying to chat, maybe trying to pay. Like everything has become a thing of the internet, yeah. So it's about time that we try also, we challenge ourselves to stay without the internet. We try and say, okay, so today the whole day I don't want to catch my phone and maybe get into internet. I'll just be there. I put my phone, it will just be purely for communication. And I feel like if we start embracing these small experiences, we'll be able now to become better people, and we'll try also to live mostly more about the internet and just be on the moment. Yeah. So thank you so much for your time. And as we're also happy that you took your time to come and inform us more about internet addiction. Asante sana. And to everyone who has made this show a success, thank you so much to our director and camera person, Elias Mushina. And today also we've been having Eunice Mutua behind the camera. Okay, asante sana for the good work you guys are doing. And to our viewers, thank you for always watching or tuning into Uni Breakfast Show every Tuesday and Wednesday at 8:30 a.m. And we are also happy that you guys are sharing and you're also trying to help other people to become better mentally. Yeah, remember, if you know of anybody who needs psychological help, you can always tell them to call the number 0700 352 250, and our very own psychologist will be able to help them out. Yeah. So until next time, do have a beautiful day ahead. Goodbye.